Got a notice. And it says grand finale. There we go. Yay. Oh my God.
Oh, yay, there it goes.
Everybody say love. Everybody say love. Now take that to your special prosecutor and investigate it. Welcome to the grand finale of RuPaul's Drag Race. The time has come to crown our queen. Ladies, I've made my decision. The winner of RuPaul's Drag Race, America's next drag superstar, is
RuPaul Drag Race.
2, 3, 4, 5. Yay.
Let's try it again, shall we? Hey, everybody. Welcome to June 28th, 2017, which is Cubs Out Loud Drag Race T-Time, Season 9, Episode number 14, which is also known as the Grand Finale. Take 2.
Take 2.
So for those of you that are joining at the end of the season and don't know who the hell I am, I'm Gary, and with me are my co-hosts.
Hi, everyone. It's Damon. Yay.
Hi, all. It's Chester. And that makes him Brady.
Gary usually says something beforehand, so I just never say anything.
No, you're right. So this week, joining with us is our extra special guest judge, Brady.
Yes, I'm not going to try and do an intro this time because I fucked it up the last time.
Don't fuck it up.
We've already done fucked it up. We fucked up which stream was playing or recording, how people could see us, the beginning, and more vodka, please.
Girl, I need some vodka.
I know, right?
All right. Now, before we get into talking about the finale, we do have a little bit of feedback on Facebook. We got a comment. Michael Quinnichette said, "Thanks, Damon, for answering my previous question. I totally forgot about kimchi. Great show, guys. Keep drinking."
And we are.
Yes, sir.
And you're welcome, Michael. It was actually kind of fun. That's one of the things I am, is a trivia kind of nerd. So those things like how do I answer that question? Oh, it's easy. That one's easy. Like, let's look and see who's made the top 3 or whatever, and see if go across the board and see who never lip synced for their life. And I was like, oh yeah. It's all about figuring out how to answer the question properly, and you get an answer. And I shared with you.
All right, so for this final episode, there is only really kind of 2 topic areas because a lot of stuff is missing and we don't have an untucked, all that kind of fun stuff. So I'll start with the thoughts on the episode. There are 2 thoughts that I had in particular. One is I thought it was a truly focused show.
Uh-huh.
What we saw broadcasted was cut and edited to kind of keep things moving without some of the lulls that have happened, I think, in previous seasons. We don't have the Q&A with any of the queens, like not any of the contestants outside of the top 4 or the top 4. We later saw, and I'll try to remember to put it in the doc for the links when this posts to our website, all the different video pieces that have been coming out randomly of the Q&A from the audience, social media stuff. Because there's a whole bunch of stuff that's been, in fact, one of them is like 14 minutes worth.
Which is,
of stuff that was missing. So I think without those things, the show was really kind of spot on, as far as keeping it pretty much moving. And because of the big change, the finale is this lip sync for the crown thing. this whole season had a lot of issues or drama focusing on the fact that queens couldn't lip sync or didn't or chose not to or whatever the hell their issue was. So I think the feeling was to sort of counterbalance that was the top 4 have to lip sync, which is kind of comical because those aren't the 4 that needed to lip sync. Like, you know, like I don't think the 4 of them had any issues with lip syncing. They aren't the ones that needed to lip sync. Like I had to laugh because I saw a video today and in it is from a live stream of Fifi O'Hara sometime previously in the season in which she said she thinks that for the finale, Charlie Hides and Valentina should have lip synced against each other.
I saw that.
Which kind of cracked me
I
up.
did not see that, but now I want to.
All right. Well, there's a video that got posted. A friend of ours, Bob in Columbus, posted it, and it's 14 some minutes or whatever of the queens coming for Valentina, and it's a whole series of edits of YouTube and live stream and Periscope. I mean, you name it. It's a whole hodgepodge of things, and it's interesting because it's basically a lot of queens talking about the Valentina, you know, personality versus her lip sync, not lip syncing, mask incident, all that stuff.
It's very much like shade being thrown. There's some real shade being thrown in this thing, and it's comical, but it's also kind of truthful and hurtful. Maybe not hurtful, definitely truthful. Definitely truthful.
You know, I think you're kind of on the right track there. It kind of goes along with what Trinity said in the reunion show, that if you can't handle it, drag is not for you.
Yep. Yep.
I think that's fair. I think this season kind of drew a line about if you think you're going to come on the show just to gain celebrity, the celebrity you get may not be the celebrity you want.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning you may think it's going to help catapult you and give you a new fandom and all this type of stuff, and you'll be able to be booked. But in actuality, it could really bite you in the ass and not necessarily go the way that you expect it to.
Sure that,
So,
yeah.
that remains to be seen. Now, for my second thought, because I want rest of y'all to have a chance as well to talk about the episode, I've got a bit of a clip. It's a little long, but to me, this is kind of the quintessential piece that made this episode special compared to other past finales. Don't get me wrong, the 3 rounds of lip sync were important, obviously, because it led to the winner. But I think if we had to replace the Q&A and the miscongeniality reveal and, you know, all the rest of that jazz, this was kind of worth it in a way.
One last question. Now, since this season's makeover challenge, have you heard from our cameraman, Sarge?
I have not.
Unfortunately, Sarge had another job, but we did find Wintergreen hanging out in the parking lot at the Waffle Hut in Pacoima. Please welcome back Wintergreen.
Why's it got to be at the Waffle House parking lot?
Wintergreen, you look marvelous. This is all you. Wow. Well, Peppermint, thank you for giving us Wintergreen and for filling this season with sass and class.
So is the Waffle Hut a combination of Waffle House and Pizza Hut?
Who knows?
Because that just sounds disgusting.
What?
Because you don't want a pizza made out of waffles?
Yeah, someone's FaceTime. That is so weird. Needs to stop.
Are you getting a booty call?
Well, someone's trying to call me from something. Decline. It was on Facebook. Who calls people on Facebook?
Apparently somebody. And Gary.
But usually I know that I can because I'm messaging with them first and then I say, can I call you? That's just me. Ooh, they ain't giving up, girl.
No, they're not. They need to stop though.
All right.
Well, there is a
So-
thing called Waffle Hut, apparently.
What?
Yeah, I found oh good God, Klamath Falls, KLA.
Isn't that what Rue said?
No, she said
it's
Pacoima.
Pacoima.
Oh, Pacoima.
Interesting. Now I'm curious. One moment, please, while I Google this shit.
And where is Pacoima?
It is a suburb of Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah. I have no idea
It's
what
like
this
it's like
is.
a I don't know how to explain it. It's a neighborhood basically in LA. It is one of the oldest neighborhoods in the northern San Fernando Valley region of LA. It covers approximately 7.14 square miles.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Now that we've gone completely off the rails,
So for me, I absolutely appreciated this whole moment, which I call Wintergreen in the house.
Whoop.
I thought it was amazing that Sarge got done up as Wintergreen yet again and made an entrance on the stage during the finale while Peppermint was doing her Q&A. I thought that was awesome. And yet again, the sass is strong with Wintergreen.
There's a face.
was-
She has a face. She's got a face, just like.
I see. See what I want to know is who did her makeup.
Ooh.
Did she learn how to do it herself? Did she become a queen, or did we have
it was
Raven and
way too
Delta?
put together for him to have learned how to do that.
She was well put together. I wasn't a fan of the dress, to be honest.
Yeah,
I mean, it fit. It was all right. It wasn't to the level that I would want for the finale.
Yeah.
But then again, she's not competing, so
Yeah.
you don't need to outdo Rue or the final four contestants. So, yeah, no, I was just ecstatic that Sarge got to come back as Wintergreen and serve it up, and that Peppermint got the recognition for bringing us Wintergreen. So I was very happy about that. That was one of my my two things about the thought on the episode. It was that while Wintergreen may never come back again, although fingers crossed, season 10. Not as a contestant. I just think it would be hysterical if like Wintergreen showed up, for
As a judge.
As opposed to like Lady Gaga, like here comes Wintergreen. I'm the final contestant. No.
That would be hilarious.
Oh my God, make her 15. Like if there's 14 queens, make her the 15th one to walk in.
Yes.
And then watch them all lose their fucking minds because they'll be like,
And then she's just joking and be like, sorry, bitches, I got to go back behind my camera.
Yeah. Don't mind me.
yeah, nice.
All
All right, Damon, what are your thoughts on the episode?
Okay. So, OM God. The lip syncs were epic. Just hands down, it was a great idea. I love that they did it. I love that it started with, like this whole wheel and one person picking. I would have honestly loved it if it had been, spin it twice and get two, and then the other two obviously would run, but whatever. The idea behind it was great, having they performed these amazing songs and did them really fucking well. Like there's no saying these girls didn't know what they were doing with their lip syncs. It's okay. But yeah, so lip syncs were awesome, epic. That's just one of my, and I was really happy with the guest, meaning not just Wintergreen. Wintergreen was kind of a guest, but like they had like guest videos. So you had like Laverne Cox, which was amazing for Peppermint. And you also had who else showed up? Oh, it was Katy Perry, but whatever. And Bobby Moynihan. I forgot who showed up for. Oh, Black China. Black China showed up. Like, and I was just was a really interesting way to do it because a lot of them all had family there, which was nice. Which normally they have, like if there's a family member that can't be there, or whatever, they have a video for them. But it was kind of really cool to do these sort of celebrity videos. It's showing that the show is growing and what have you. And finally, my favorite part of all. So this has to do with the lip sync between Sasha and Shay. So Jim and I were here watching the episode. We were watching it live. And we were talking about, their looks and whatever. And I was saying, I was literally saying that I didn't like Sasha's wig. I didn't like it. I was like, what's wrong with her wig? And Jim said, well, maybe she'll take it off. And right as soon as he said it, she lifted it up to get the rose petals off. Jim and I I had to pause because I was so we both lost our shit. I was like, yes, she literally just took it off, and it was so amazing because I knew there had to be something. Like it didn't look like a normal Sasha wig. Like it was very drag queen. Like it was very just, and she's been very very avant-garde and very artsy with her looks, and even her wigs. They're not usually that simple. I'll just put it like that. Yes, it was a big voluminous red wig, but I was like, why is she wearing it? And then we know why. It was meant to come off, and it was at the perfect moment, and it just highlighted that lip sync between the two of them. I hadn't noticed the rose at first, but when she came out again with it, I was like, why is she wearing a rose? And then I looked at the lip sync again. I'm like, oh, she's been carrying it the whole time. Obviously, she was going to use it in some fashion. One of the lip syncs, who knows? Anyway, those are kind of my bigger thoughts. I really enjoyed this idea, this concept of the lip syncs for the crown. I think it's something that we've seen, quote unquote, but in the past it's been, these custom made songs for them, and that's nice and all, but we don't really we don't know what the song is per se. So we're learning the song as they're doing the song, and then we are kind of watching them sort of perform it, and that's okay. But doing songs we know and love that are epic, like drag queen songs was it for me.
I wanted to say that I had a little viewing party at my house. I was able to live stream it through VH1 online. However, there was an issue that we were able to see the video live, but the audio was on about a 4-second delay. So it was like watching a bad dubbed foreign film. And we found it quite hysterical because we're like kind of seeing things and then hearing it. I'm pretty sure it was the video that was up to date and it was the audio that was off. But anyway, or maybe it was the other way around. Maybe it was the audio first. Yeah, audio first and then video. Anyways, we were kind of laughing because we knew what was coming ish, because you could hear, and then you could see. And so when the two reveals happen in the first two rounds, we lost our ever living mind. So Drew was here with AJ at my house, and Drew has apparently spent a past week prior to Friday binge watching all of season 9.
Nice.
And so he watched all the episodes. He watched the Untucks. I don't think he had a chance to watch all of our tea times, which is fine. So he at least knew who the contestants were and who was in the finale and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, we had a lot of Yas Queens when the reveals happened in those first two rounds, because it was quite evident that the two that moved on prepared. As I read online today, someone said someone studied up, like someone was prepared for the final exam. Was the concept behind that.
Yeah, and there were a lot of, that was the big thing. Like if Fashion Photo Review does anything on this one, the trend alert would be like reveals, because you had Peppermint's reveal, you had Trinity's reveal, you had Sasha's reveal, you had Shay, and yeah. So, and that's the thing though. Like no one really did bad. I was sitting here like, I don't know why, but I was feeling like anxious about it. I was like, I really didn't know how it would go. I loved everybody, and they were doing so well, and it caught me off guard. And like I said, Jim and I were watching it live, and I told myself, like, I don't know who I want to win. I still didn't know. I knew who I had in my idea. Like I've talked about it several times. I really enjoyed Peppermint. But I kept saying to myself, like, it could go either way. Each one could have gone either way. They both of them did, all three, everyone did amazing jobs.
Oh, I don't know. I think there was a very clear moment when Trinity and
Peppermint.
I had to think about how they were lined up. I think there was a very clear moment when Peppermint and Trinity were doing their face-off. That you knew that Peppermint won.
So here's the thing I want to know. Okay, so I have a question, and I want to know if I should ask it now or if we want to come back to it after Chester and Brady give their thoughts.
Let's come back to it.
Okay, I think it's a good point.
Chester, what about you? What are your thoughts?
I thought everybody looked flawless.
Oh yeah.
Every single queen that was on that stage looked amazing from head to toe. Their look and their makeup and their dress and their costume overall was so on point for every single one of them. And there were so many times that the queen would come out and get introduced, and I'm like, oh my God, she looks amazing. And then the next one would come out, and you're like, oh my God, she looks amazing. And then Eureka would come out, and you're like, oh my God, it's a fucking elephant. She looks amazing.
Yeah.
And everyone looked like they were true to their brand and who they are as a drag queen. And I was just so impressed with just everyone's look. All the way from James to Sasha. They all looked fantastic.
Yeah. I remember writing down that Nina actually looks glamorous. Like she came like, and it looked good.
And even Sasha being, you know, she's not known for her fish, and she still looked glamorous.
Yep.
I was just so impressed with that. And then the flawless competition of everybody during their lip sync, to me, I didn't see any point during people's lip sync where I said, oh no, she lost because of this reason. There are things that I would point out that I think we're going to talk about that I'm like, it could have been better. Most of it has to do with timing.
Okay.
But for the most part, everybody's lip sync was flawless. Like they hit every note. They performed exceptionally well. I think people's look, like their dress and their makeup, matched the songs that they were doing. Let's see what else. And then I think Gary mentioned in the beginning of the episode about how it was edited, where there was it was a truly focused show. I don't necessarily want to say that the editing was flawless, because now that the show's been out and we keep getting all these supplements, like the part or the supplement where, Rue says, "Hey, pork chop," that was cut from the episode. I wasn't really missing it in the episode. Like, it's not like I watched the episode and at the end of it I was like, hey, wait a minute, they didn't do the whole "hey, pork chop" thing. It wasn't until after, when I saw the supplement, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, they didn't do that. Oh yeah, that's right, they didn't do a Q&A with all the drag queens coming up and asking them questions. And that's okay. I wasn't bothered by the fact that that wasn't included.
Interesting. Brady, how about you?
All right, so I'm gonna start with my negatives and I'll move to my positives. One of the negative aspects for me is I will make sure that I will not read Reddit before finale anymore, because Reddit had everything correct as to what was going to happen, including stuff that was cut out. So I was glad to see that they released some of that footage, because I wanted to watch it anyway.
Okay, so I don't want to cut you off here, Brady, but
that's fine.
I do want to bring that up because Gary asked last episode when we recorded if you and I had thought if Reddit had spoiled it for us and what we were thinking was going to be true. Or maybe you sent this in a text message to us. But anyway, there was a certain point when I was reading this post on Reddit about how the last the finale episode was going to be set up. And I don't remember them talking about the whole wheel thing. But then again, I could have skipped over that, because I was skimming. But I do remember reading very clearly that Peppermint and Sasha were going to be facing off for the crown. And that was the only thing that once I read that, I was like, nope, not reading anymore. So when Gary had asked, because things were spoiled for us, do we think that, is it lining up with how things were spoiled? And I remember telling Gary, I'm like, if this is the way that they're going to do it, it kind of makes sense and it's plausible.
Exactly. And I think the reason why it did spoil it for me was mostly because I felt like I had already seen it in my mind, so I was sort of bored watching it, except for finding out who won, because literally reading that word from word is what happened on the show. Mind you, there's stuff that we didn't see, such as when Miss Tyra Sanchez went up to the microphone, which was cut out. There was a lot of boos from the audience, which they had to edit out. But there's some different things. I'm going to start with Rue's dress first. That is the ugliest dress I've seen in a very long time. It reminded me of a combination of two dresses. One character from Napoleon Dynamite, Deb, when she goes to prom, and another prom dress from Miss Josie Grossi from Never Been Kissed. Like, she is worn, and Poofy looks good on her. I'm not even going to pull it out because this is just me being honest. Poofy dresses do look good on her, but that one, in 4K, if they didn't zoom in, I would have thought there were rubber ducks on it, just from little splashes. It didn't look good on her. I didn't like it. Loved the hair, loved the makeup, didn't like the dress. So that was my biggest complaint. I feel like they could have done a better dress. And the other finales that they've done, phenomenal dresses. This one, not so much. I was kind of disappointed with it.
Yeah, I don't want to say I hated the dress. I just think I've seen her do better.
Yeah.
I've seen better. And I know, Matthew Anderson's not there anymore, blah, 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 whatever. I get that. Totally get that. But Matthew's not the one doing the dresses. It's whatever his name is. God, I can't even remember his name. Whatever. Anyway, doesn't matter. I would have liked. I agree. I think I would have liked something different. I don't know what, but I just felt like it could have been better.
I
I'm
guess
not
the
saying it
best
was bad, but I think it could have been better.
I guess the best way to describe it is like it felt like it came from a store rather than a designer. Like we went to Sears and bought this dress, and now we know why Sears is going out of business.
Woo.
No, yes, that's some shade.
Penny.
One of the other things I think I actually liked how they did this. Now I miss the old finale, but I actually really liked how it was done. I hate the fact they wasted all that material to make a giant wheel to only have it spun one time.
Yeah,
okay. That's kind of a waste, but
I hate to say it, but I agree with you. Like I totally like. I was expecting more from the wheel.
Yeah, like
my thought was what I said is that they would have spun the wheel once, and it landed on Trinity. Then they would have spun the wheel again, and would have landed on one of the other girls. And if it landed on Trinity, and if that would have been the thing. If it had landed on Trinity again, then Trinity got to pick. But if it had landed on the other ones, it would have been one of those other three.
yeah.
Like I would have preferred that than, and yes, they would have technically only had to spin it twice.
Yeah.
Reality, because there's only 4 queens.
I think what would have made more sense. They had Trinity spin it, pick who she was going to lip sync against. Whoever won, spin it again at that point, and then pick, and then whoever it landed on, minus the one person who just got eliminated, that two you would go against, unless it landed on yourself. But then you get, probability. That's probably why they didn't do it that way.
Yeah, it's just when there's 4, it's hard to do. Like probability is not big. Like there's only really so many options you can take. But I would have liked them to spin it at least more than once. Mm-hmm. Just more than once. Just to get the 2, and then it would have been. I don't know. I think it would have. I don't know if it would have changed the outcome or done anything else or whatever. But I think it would have been a little bit more random. Exactly. having having it pick one, and then they pick who they are supposed to go against, which then leaves the other 2 girls to go against each other. It was a good idea. It was good, television, because the way things rolled, the way it was done, the way they were picked left the drama, because they had, when they were talking with Shay, they asked Shay, like, how are you going to feel about going with Sasha? And she asked her the question, like, we've been best friends, but we know we'll have to do it. We might have to do it.
Exactly.
But I don't know. Like, I wish Trinity had. I don't know. I don't know who I would have wanted Trinity to have picked, other than Peppermint. I know she said it because she wanted the challenge. Well, you got it. I go, okay, well, who else could she have picked? Well, if she had gone against, I would have, it sounds crazy, I would have loved to have seen her go against Sasha. I would have liked to have seen that. Because to me, I think Sasha has been the one queen that technically hasn't didn't lip sync on the show, so no one knew what she could do.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
I have 2 more complaints that I'll talk about very quickly, then I'll move into my good stuff. So one of the things that I truly did not like, and this is just, I think it bothers me. So there's an episode of Parks and Recreation, which is one of my favorite shows, where Tom Haverford takes over Leslie Knope's campaign that she's doing and just does a big advertisement for his company. That whole stage was set up just to advertise RuPaul's album. And I thought that was very tacky. Smart, but tacky.
It's like that every show. Every finale.
That's the first one where they actually had a giant picture of her mouth that said American above it. Was the album cover.
Well, there's that, but they typically have them singing her songs.
No, that makes sense. But when you actually make the dress, where you're setting the stage with actual props of stuff from the album, at that point you might as well just make the queens come out wearing T-shirts for it. It just looks tacky.
It caught me off guard. I got the whole the mouse opener coming out of her mouth, which was kind of different. But it just felt it. I understand that. I don't think it. Tacky is actually the best word to put it. It just felt because honestly, we all know who RuPaul is. Everyone knows who RuPaul is. Everyone knows.
Yeah.
Anyone who is watching this show, anyone who's in the audience, anyone who's seen this knows this. Who this is? They know her album's out. Like no one really needs to kind of be hit over the head with I'm RuPaul, damn it, and this is my next album. Can't you see it? Don't you see it? Like it's right here.
Well,
exactly.
Nobody needs to be hit over the head with a 204 chair.
204 events chair. Or have a drink from Hamburger Mary's in this big. I guess it's making the money, whatever.
Yeah, it's paying
It's
the light
revenue.
bill.
Pay bills somehow.
Yeah, you gotta get
And
those
you pay
advertisements
that
in.
And telephone bill.
So one of the other
Anyway.
things I thought was really weird, there were a lot of, when they were cutting to the audience, if you notice, they really focused on the cast of season 9, which made sense because they were sitting up front. The other thing is they only focused really on the other celebrities, and you didn't really see any other queens except for Miles J dressed as the Babadook. Had I not seen the deleted footage and read it, I would have guessed that no other queens were there. Like I couldn't see that close enough to see who all was in the audience, and that was the first time in the finale that's happened. So I don't know if it's just how things were staged and set up and how they did it in the editing, but it was just really weird. I was like, where is everybody?
And I know I keep challenging these, but this is what I'm realizing that happened in this. What I feel was the point and focus of this finale. The main focus of this finale was the lip syncs. It was meant to be like, this is what we're doing. This is the new thing that we're doing. So this is what we're going to focus on. And pretty much that's what it was. You had the top 4 interviews, and then you had them lip syncing, and in the show, that was it. Like the show, pretty much, that was all you had. You had them all come out, and then you had all the queens come out, and then you focused on the top 4, and then you focused on lip sync, and that was it. And then you got the crown because they had already done Miss Congeniality. We know they did questions, but it wasn't part of the episode. So it was, the things that we would normally, where we would see more of the audience, where we would see more of the queens that were there, were not part of this episode. And I don't know, I'm sure that was a conscious decision.
I'm sure that it was.
The goal of this episode was to focus on these kick-ass lip syncs and who's going to get the crown, who's going to get eliminated, and yeah, that's all it was. Because it made sense because that's the thing that pretty much everyone was wanting to know what was going to happen.
Exactly.
So
and
we didn't even get. Go ahead.
Oh well, I was saying is that's what I think was a positive point of it. Was the fact that we got more one-on-one time with the top 4, and then we got to see something different, and that's what I really liked about this the finale, because the reunion episode gave me everything that I wanted. Like, okay, they honestly could have left the other queens off the stage, not even introduced them. I would have been fine with that. Just have them sit in the audience. Let's focus on the top 4 because we really didn't get to focus too much on them in the reunion, other than people voicing opinions. But I like I like where they're going with it. It'll be interesting to see if they continue it into season 10 or if they do something entirely different, or revert back to old ways. Who knows? But I'm liking where this is going. Let's see where it goes from here.
Yeah. Gary is noticeably quiet.
He has opinions.
Well, I put myself on mute because I was doing the fan and looking up some information and some other stuff, because I want to ask my question in a moment, but I want to go back to the spinning wheel. That I agree, it seemed like an awful lot of like arts and crafts effort. Somebody cashed in their Christmas gift cards that they never requested or wanted for Hobby Lobby, and went and made themselves this big old wheel with all this sparkle all over it for 4 big ass quadrants of each queen's name. Which, girl, who seriously made that? I mean, come on. If you're going to do a wheel, you're going to do a wheel with like lots of slices. The drama is that you don't know where it's going to land. Once it tips past a quarter mark, unless there's enough momentum, it's kind of going to stay there, So
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think the wheel will probably come back into the future. I can't see them putting all that effort into just that one prop for that one little moment.
Rip it off, put another name up. Here you go.
Well, hopefully the queen got to take their name down and take it home with them, at least.
Maybe.
Here's your consolation prize, Trinity. You can use it as a fan. You can make it into a fan.
You could use it for your tuck, girl. Help cover up that meatiness, apparently. So here's what my question is, because I was listening to another podcast and this was a reference that was made, and I want to know what the three of you think about this, because I went back and rewatched the show and I can understand the criticism.
Just once?
Well, I watched it live. Mind you, I missed the first half. So, because we had gone to dinner and this other thing, and then I was trying to get the live stream set up to mirror to the TV so everyone in the living room could watch it. And the only thing I cared about, honestly, was the last like 5 minutes. But we timed it perfectly that we got to start it right when the first of the 3 lip syncs started. So we got to see all 3 of them. We got to see the elimination down to 2, the final 2, all of that stuff. And then I went back later and I watched the whole episode, like probably on like Sunday, I think, or something. And then later, I watched it again this week. So technically I watched it with like 2.5 times. But then I was listening to another podcast and they made a reference to something that happens in the first 2 of 3 lip syncs.
Okay.
Is everything all right?
Yes.
Was that
I was
dancing on my
downloading the
own?
song. Yes.
Oh,
I was downloading it and it just started playing.
What were you downloading?
dancing on my own.
Oh, okay. So when I want you to all 3 of you to think back to the first 2 lip sync rounds. And do you think that Peppermint and her lip sync against Trinity, and that Sasha in her lip sync against Shay, do you think this term is appropriate? Now, you might not be familiar with it because I hadn't quite heard it before and I had to look it up, and it's not necessarily popularly known, it seems, because it's not even an Urban Dictionary. But the reference was that what they did was pulled the pageant.
Okay.
Now, do you need me to explain what that is?
You mean Trinity and...
No, the winners. Peppermint and Sasha pulled the pageant during their lip sync rounds.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain, because I'm thinking something else that's, I think, the opposite of what they're thinking it is.
So the reference for pulling the pageant is to the way it was used is to distract, to pull attention, to basically steal the spotlight, even though technically in that moment it does not go with lip sync. Is it dramatic? Yes. Is it something that like hits a beat or causes an emotional reaction? Absolutely. But is it technically lip syncing? Was it necessary to do in that moment? So the reference of pulling the pageant is to say to pull the judges, to win them over with almost like a magic trick that isn't technically about lip sync.
Are you saying that? Okay, let me see if I'm following you.
Yeah.
So if we take Peppermint and Trinity's lip sync,
Okay.
put them side by side, and just base them completely off of their lip sync without their reveals. Is this what you're talking about? Their reveal was what pushed them over, what caught the judge's eyes?
Right. That's the reference that was made by others than and what I was listening to, in which they said, while it was great and it was fun, and yes, everybody, got a kick out of it, it technically wasn't necessary. So
Okay, but
what
where
I
do you
find
draw the
interesting,
line?
well, that's why I want to ask the question, though, because in essence, the argument was that technically Trinity was better at lip syncing in her round, and that Shay potentially was better at lip syncing. But the reason they lost is because of the theatrics, not because of lip syncing.
Okay, that's where I'm posing my question.
Okay.
If that is the case, then both contestants can just stand up there and be Charlie fucking Hides and lip sync. They don't need to move around. They don't need to do anything else, because isn't that what drag is performing? You are putting on this persona while you are mouthing words to the song.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I get where you're going at, and I think I get what these podcaster people were kind of saying, and I agree to a point. It is I don't want to call it pulling a pageant, because I hate that phrase sounds stupid to me. I would call it gimmicky, potentially, if you want to dumb it down. Like it's definitely gimmicky. It's theatrical, it's magic, it's part of their show. It's part of their performance. But
hold up. Hold that thought for just a second. Let's go back and look at Roxy Andrews, who is known for her wig reveals.
Mm-hmm.
That is part of being Roxy Andrews. Is it still a gimmick, or is that part of her brand?
I will say this. It was a gimmick that became part of her brand.
So?
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, like, there are things people do. I saw. Okay, let me just, because I'll go to my theater background, and that's the thing I kind of go on. I get this. They're meant to be eye catching. It's meant to be attention grabbing. It's meant to be dramatic. It's meant to be like, that's sort of the point of those things. Is it bad? No, not necessarily. There can be bad gimmicks. We've seen bad gimmicks. We know things about bad gimmicks. A wig reveal like Roxy Andrews, or the wig reveal like in the finale and and Peppermint did, and her, those are. It's just part of the show to me. Is it necessary? Like I said, is it necessarily a bad thing? No, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think it's just part of the drama of a performance like that. And in a finale like this, in something as big and big as what this was meant to be, which is the crown, I'm gonna pull out all my motherfucking stops. Like I doubt for a second that who cares if we know what the two songs were. So the Queens probably knew what the two songs were. It was Stronger and So Emotional. If you know those songs, both of those songs have clear moments where if you were going to do something like a reveal or a wig off or whatever, they have a moment where you can do that, or several depending on the song. Both do. So it was in that moment that I knew that someone's going to do something. You had to. There's just there's no way. Like I have performed songs where I've done I'm Every Woman, and I started in a gown and I take the gown off, and the last thing I do, and I have a shorter gown and a shorter dress underneath that's meant to be kind of the dancey because it's a fun number, and the last thing I do is I pull off my wig and I have another wig underneath. It jaws drop. I've done it 3 times, and every time people are like, holy shit, because it is wonderful. It's amazing because you never think of a drag queen to take a wig off, and you would never take a wig off, as we've heard, unless you have another wig underneath. It's just the way it is. You don't just take off a wig and reveal like their pins and your hairnet and whatever you got in there. No, if you're gonna take a wig off, you better fucking have a wig underneath. One of my favorite lip syncs I've seen online was actually India Farah, and she didn't just do one wig change. She didn't just do 2. She did 3 or 4, if I remember correctly. And they literally, it was at certain points of the song and changing the song, and it just was like, I was like, when are they gonna stop? Because because she had one wig on and she had another wig, and she also did a slight costume change. She had like a corset or something on, and it turned around and it was different, colors and shades or whatever, but it all kind of went together. And you pull out all the stops, you do everything you can to get that. And if you do a gimmick, yeah, Trinity's gimmick, like her tuck had to be pretty fucking tight this time around, because she literally had this much fabric here and back there. So her dick was like upper butt, like halfway and a mile up. Like everything was up in there.
No, she just got some silicone injected into it and it fell off.
But no, because the reveal was her gimmick is how great how awesome her tuck is. That is her thing. It is her brand. But it is, not to be rude, in essence, it could be considered a gimmick. Yeah. The reality is it could be considered a gimmick. So,
okay, yeah, not that I want to continue to drag this out, but what happens when somebody does a death drop? Because Aja is pretty goddamn good at that, where she's in the middle of her song and she jumps in the air and does splits or a death drop to a beat. We're used to seeing that from Aja. And then you've got Kimora Black in the background, like, oh my god, I can't be shown up. So she does one, but it's not really one because she doesn't know how to do it. Is that the same thing?
I wouldn't call it the same thing.
Pulling off your wig?
Only because I feel like pulling off your wig is a gimmick where, well, no, I can see how it is, but I think that literally when you're doing a death drop, you're showing athleticism and that the fact that you can dance. Because let's face it, as much as I would love to learn how to do a damn death drop, my leg is not going that far back. It's going to snap off if I try.
It shows flexibility. It doesn't show you know how to dance.
Well, actually, in order to do a death drop correctly, you have to have that skill. I'm sorry. Like you don't just.
Yeah, you have to have flexibility.
Mm,
You gotta
you
have
also have to
rhythm
know how
too,
to.
because if you do the death drop on the wrong beat, it's gonna look terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, that just never works. But no, okay, let's, because to me, in a lot of ways, there's a line. Okay, there's a performance and then there's a gimmick. So to me, there are things that could be performancy, and then you get to a point where it can become a gimmick. That's just
Okay.
honestly, that's sometimes the way it is.
I'm just gonna say one more thing
But-
about this. When you get to be the judge of the queens on stage, then you can call it if it's a gimmick or if it's part of the show.
That's fair.
I'm happy to do that. Or I can do it right now because I'm a critic. But no, I always believe, like, because to me, like, okay, if you're, when does, to me, like you mentioned, like Brady mentioned athleticism. So, okay, when does, if you remember Sonique's, like gymnastics basically routine, when does that fall into, to me, falls into gimmick is when it has nothing to do with the song, with the performance. When it's just me showing how great I can tumble, and to flip on that, Katya in the Read You Wrote You, for example, none of that to me was gimmick because that was part of the whole performance. They, Todrick Hall or whoever did the choreography for that knew how flexible she was. He incorporated it into her routine, her dance that she did for that, her part of the routine. He knew that she could do a split. She could be picked up and be, or let down and do a split with both legs and go back up and do it again. He knew that she could do that, so that was put into performance. Still showing athleticism and skill, but it's part of what it was part of. It was not outside of the realm of what she was doing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'll say this one thing. There was a reason why Shay lost that lip sync that was not aired. So in the beginning of them starting to sing, when Sasha took that rose and she ripped the petals off the stem, she threw the stem on the ground. Shay slipped on the stem but caught herself. She didn't fall, but it was enough of a mistake that, on top of Sasha's gimmick that she did, because I'm going to call that a gimmick. That was very much a gimmick.
Hold on. How can we take Sasha, who is a performance artist, doing performance art, and call it a fucking gimmick?
I'm only calling it a gimmick because the reason she did the roses and the rose petals was because she was throwing shade at Valentina.
Well,
I don't know about that.
So, see, that's one theory I heard, that's why Sasha did rose petals, was to basically give a big, to Miss Valentina, as she's been dubbed. Because, she apparently went on one of her social things that she's never on, and, said to all of her fans that they should go on all the other queens, media and put roses to show that actually, this is all coming from a place of love. Anyways, I heard that theory that's why Sasha did the rose petal thing. It could be, but
even if that's true, which it's very plausible that it's true. If that is the case, it is still performance art, which is what she's good at doing. She's taking this pop culture thing and incorporating it into her performance, which is what she does.
But what was pop culture about it? Maybe I didn't catch the reference.
Pop culture as anything that becomes relevant to the time period. Like meme. Memes are pop culture.
Well, and
You got
to
me
be
conflicted
fair,
up in here.
roses and rose petals have always been used metaphorically as like passion, love, seduction. You know, I mean, there are other colors of roses, obviously, that mean different things. But she notably used red. And the song that she actually lip synced to, I thought it was very interesting. This is kind of a sidebar. I believe all of the queens got all 3 songs, the 2 elimination rounds and the final round in advance. Because Rue even says right before the final elimination, you were asked to prepare for tonight. So that's your tip off that all the girls got their shit ahead of time. So I think they didn't know the order. They just knew they were going to have those 3 songs, and they just didn't know which one they were going to do when, and if they were going to get to the end.
I think they all knew the finale song was going to be "It's Not Right, But It's Okay," because the only 2 songs that were in the boxes were "So Emotional" and "Stronger." So then, I think they knew if they made it to the finale song was going to be "It's Not Right, But It's Okay." I just believe that, because there was no like box picking or no choices in that matter. It was, this is the finale, this is the song we're doing, as opposed to these are the rounds. Peppermint, you pick a song. You get to pick the song because you got chose. And you had 2 songs in the boxes, and the other box came out with the other song. So I think they knew the 2 songs in the boxes, and they knew the finale song. They just didn't know who was going to be doing what, because there was going to be a choice on that.
But do you think it was luck on Sasha's side that, you know, that Trinity picked the song that she did? Because do you think it would have been successful for her performance art to work with the song Stronger?
But that's kind of my challenge to you guys is I don't think we'll have the answer while we're recording, but I think you should all go back, because that's what I did. Watch the performances and think about what they're wearing and what they do, and would that have worked also in the other song? I propose the answer is yes. I think Peppermint and Sasha were prepared to do reveals or whatever their stuff was, no matter what the song was.
I agree.
They knew what the songs were. They just didn't know where and when it was going to happen. So they had timed it, practiced it, figured it out. This is when I'm going to do the wig thing. This is when I'm going to do the dress thing. This is when and it was just a matter of them picking whichever was the,
Yeah.
So I think the whole point of the question was, I found it very interesting that the criticism came for the lip syncs that the theatrics distracted from actual lip syncing.
I disagree. I think it made it stronger.
Well, and that's kind of why I wanted to discuss it, because I found it very interesting, because I agree. I think, Damon, what you're saying is theatrics are part of drag. The point of putting on a performance is exactly that. The entire thing is a performance. Like when you go to see Lady Bunny, if you've ever seen her, you know that she does a little bit of shtick dancing, which is not very good, but it's meant to not be good. And she tells jokes. Like that's her performance style of art. When you see Sasha Velour, typically it's very visual and it's a little bit cerebral. There's kind of probably another meaning inside of what she's doing, what she's wearing. And, I think that goes with the stuff. I will admit that I got caught up in the emotion when we were watching the finale and watching, and Peppermint. So here's the thing that I think Trinity did her reveal too early. And it was kind of like watching the Olympics, and you're watching like the 200-meter dash. And yeah, you could start strong out the beginning and you could like put on the heat, you know, in the first 100 meters, but guess what? Like, that can burn you. And I think that's what happened to Trinity. She did the reveal, she took off the little skirt deal, and she showed off her tuck, and then she had nothing left. Like, there was nothing to finish the song with other than just prancing around, you know, and she didn't even do a Coco, you know, Montrese, you know, where she like points at her lips and makes everyone pay attention to her lip syncing. You know, she just kind of did that thing. And, you know, it gave the floor to Peppermint to do the reveal that everyone had to see coming, because her right arm's behind her back and she's kind of doing something. And I'm like, girl, what the hell? Like, and after I said, girl, what the hell? I was like, we're doing, like, she's up to something. And then sure as shit,
I knew that was coming.
She spins, she does the reveal, the skirt turns into a dress, you know, the gladiator outfit looks more like a gown. I wasn't expecting the wig though, although we should know better because she's done it once before this season. So I loved the drama of taking like that midnight blue black wig that's long off, throwing it on the ground, and all of a sudden she's got this beautiful like snow white platinum pixie cut deal. I mean, I was just like floored. And at that moment, I was like, I think all of us were like, and Peppermint's won. Like, but the question is, does that stunt, or whatever you want to call it, gimmick, like, you know, theatrical moment or whatever, does that technically mean you are a better lip syncer if that's really what this is about? Or is it more about the fact that it's about performance? And even though we call it a lip sync, that's the thing that kind of pushes you. It's kind of like the criticism about congeniality really isn't congeniality anymore. It's actually fan favorite. Like, does that make sense? Why I brought it up, just like as a discussion point, because I think it was valid to say, if it's about performance and theatrics, then yes, those things matter.
Yeah, to me, I really feel like it's not just a lip sync. Like, I know we call it lip sync for your life, and I know that's kind of what we've been calling it, but it is never just a lip sync. You are not just like Chester said, if it was just a lip sync, they could just stand there and lip sync the song. And whoever gets all the words and does the best job at it wins. If it were just that simple, it would just be that simple. But it is not just that. It is also a performance. You don't go to a drag show to see a queen stand there and lip sync a song. You can go to a drag show and see a queen sometimes just stand there and lip sync a song, but I bet she's not getting that many tips. There are very few queens that I know of that can pull that shit off. Yeah, that was Shade. Yes. I have seen it before. I have seen some queens that like just stand there and lip sync, and you're like, girl, do something. Do a hip, do a skip, do something, because no.
Do a hop, skip, and a jump.
Something. Or just get off stage. But just saying. You come to be entertained and you come to perform. If you want to just see someone lip sync a song, you could do that yourself. If you know the words, you can do the lip sync your damn self. Look yourself in the mirror. You come to see what they're wearing. You come to see either how beautiful or how comedic or whatever they do, and then you want to see them what they do with the song. You know, I've seen Bob's crazy. She does this, you know, thing with all the, you know, it's music and it's also like spoken parts. And the reason I love it so much is because it is not just her doing the lip sync. She has put so much effort into the things she's put, the outfits she's wearing. She's given them each little thing a little like specific motion, so that when she gets to the end, and all three of them kind of go, you know, get repeated. You know what's going on, and that just it adds to the funny, but it also adds to the performance of it. So, drag to me has always been about a performance. I think it is more than a lip sync, and I feel that that's sort of why when this is so important, that's why you need to go for it and do everything you can. If Trendy had done more things after her reveal, like I don't know how talented she is with, athletics and splits and what have you. I don't know how, I don't think she is, honestly. But if she had done more with it, she could have edged out Peppermint. Because as we know, reality was Peppermint won because of the reveal. I'm not gonna knock it. She did a really good job. She knew the song really well, but she won with that reveal. Because it was spot on, it was timed really well, and it happened at the right moment.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Sasha, and the taking off the wig, and the petals coming out of the wig. Epic. It was amazing. You're not going to top that. And then the finale with the two of them performing, it was neck and neck and neck and neck. And I'm not saying that her removing the mask and throwing it off was the thing that got me. No, the way that Sasha performed that lip sync, there was so much raw emotion into that lip sync. She was doing that song so much justice. And I didn't know who was going to win. Reality was, I did not know who was going to win based solely on what they were doing. But if I had taken a moment and like closed my eye, or not closed my eyes, but just like watched them perform, it might have been, I don't know. I feel like Sasha just edged her out just because of the way she was getting and committing to that song.
Yeah.
Hi. I feel like I've been talking a lot.
You did, just a little. But I think it was important. I wanted us to discuss this because I think, for me, I don't think there's a right or wrong. I think everyone's going to have their own opinion. So some of our, audience people might, listeners or watchers might feel that, yes, there is something of pulling the pageant that took place because of the theatrics in the first two lip syncs. Notably, in the third one, there wasn't really much of that at all. Like, yes, Sasha had the face, alien kind of mask thing that came over the head, and there was the mouthpiece that got removed in the first, opening bit that got thrown off stage, which a lot of people saw as a dig at Valentina, and how, you are not going to, in the final song, not let your lips be seen. And then, she cracks the two halves off at a dramatic moment and throws them far back off stage. It was funny because, as I think Drew said to me, he was waiting for another reveal. Like you felt like Sasha had all these things going on, that there was one more or two more things that were going to happen in that song. Like the crest of her, outfit was actually an applique and she was going to rip it off. The skirt had something hidden underneath it. I personally thought because she was in all white that she was going to pull a stunt like a la Gaga and Sharon Needles, and there was going to be a blood red theatrical effect of some sort. I was kind of waiting and expecting, and it didn't happen, and I'm not disappointed. The only other dramatic moment was when she fell to the ground towards the end of the song.
There was a point during her lip sync where she had gone like this, and I saw her, and she was in this position for, a good couple seconds, and then just brought her hands forward. And I was like, I think she was about to do a reveal and then decided not to. I don't know. I wasn't there. It didn't bother me that there wasn't a reveal, but I was certainly expecting one.
Yeah. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that part. I think, it would have been interesting if something else had happened, but who knows? Oh well. Anyway.
So that being said, is there anything else we want to say before we go to closing thoughts?
No. I think we've said enough.
Chester?
Nope.
Okay, just want to be sure. So yeah, like I said, there wasn't a lot of like specific topics other than like the main thoughts on the episode and our closing ones. For closing, I had put it in a certain order. So Damon.
Again. So I will just put like this. Praise to Whitney. I know she didn't necessarily write her songs per se, but these songs are the songs that were chosen for this episode are classic Whitney songs that are classic drag queen songs. They're just, and it made everything so perfect. It added just another layer to things, and I'm just happy about that.
Sorry, I'm giggling because you're saying classic Whitney songs. They're all classic by this point.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Rest in peace.
I think Damon is meaning of the entire catalog of Whitney Houston songs. There are a handful that are just known for drag performance.
Yeah.
I think that just means that they're popular because It's Not Right, It's Okay is one of her more recent songs.
No, not really. No, it's been out for quite a while. But
They've all been
anyway,
out for quite a while. What I'm saying is,
catalog
of songs, it's the most recent.
Well, anyways, this is a debate about Whitney's career. The point is that Damon.
It's all to me. It's very much it's a call out. It's a drag. These are things that people would know. So I knew that there's a power behind us all. Even to Britney Stronger was just there's a power to that song that I think was perfect for the finale. It added another element to it that made it even more epic and more amazing than I was expecting it to be. And the final part from my closing thoughts are actually words. Let's change the motherfucking world. And I feel that of the queens, I'm really looking forward to see what Sasha brings to I'm now America's Next Drag Superstar. I'm really looking forward to seeing what she does with it. I have some ideas and I have some thoughts, but she's always been a know your history queen. And I feel that will add another element to what she does. That's all.
That's all. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Damon, that I am looking forward to how she changes drag because she's now on this platform where people are going to notice it more. Sasha herself has even said that I'm not the only queen who does this. I'm not like the forefront leader of doing artistic drag. It's just that now she has a platform where everybody else can see her do it. So in my show notes, I have it titled Reveal, Revel, and Revolutionize. And it's all about Sasha and how she came onto the stage and she's wearing this gorgeous white dress and this 3D printed, I don't even know what to call it, headgear, mask. I don't know, but It kind of looks like a
Exoskeleton.
yeah. It looks like a Iranian gas mask, basically.
Mhm.
What I loved about it is there was one single jewel that was hanging in front of the mouth. It was so awesome looking. And she's wearing that while Rue is, talking and getting them set up for the song. And as soon as the song starts, she immediately rips it off. And I thought that was so wonderful. And she continued to leave the rest of it all on until there was a certain part in the song where it became a reveal. And it was a good timing for that reveal to happen. What I liked most about it is as soon as she took that off and you hear the crowd cheering, the camera cuts to her and she puts on this humongous smile on her face. And that's why I said revel, because I think at that moment she knew that she won over the hearts of the judges, and that she was reveling in the fact that she probably just won. And then
Yeah.
her idea of revolutionizing her drag aesthetic.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. Like I'll put it like this. If you go back to like we'll go back to Bob the Drag Queen. Bob the Drag Queen was how do I put it? She definitely knew she was, I mean, not to sound, she knew she pretty much had it. I mean, there's no, I mean, honestly, like maybe there was something that could have changed her mind or whatever, but she was so good and so well done and so funny, and she caught everyone's attention, and it was great. Sasha did the same thing, but in a different way. Sasha caught people by making people pay attention, not through like, hey, here's this funny campy moment, and I've got a mouth, and I know what to say, and I'm whatever. She did things by she's very, like we said, she's very visual, and the things that the looks and the fashions and what have you that she put on, that it was everything. And that's what I think. Hopefully, people will pay attention. I know one of the questions that she got in the extras was the like, what is your favorite art piece ever? And her favorite art piece is Keith Haring's Radiant Baby. Like, it's yeah. Oh my God, it's just so awesome to think of something like that, and that is what she wants to do, is that she wants her drag to inspire and cause a reaction to people. And I feel that she, of all people, can do that, not in a hopefully not negative way, but in a very positive, uplifting way. Brady?
Yeah, sorry. I'm pissed off at Apple now because I turned on two-factor fucking authentication for my account. Anywho, this is what I get for downloading iOS 11 beta. I really wanted it. Anywho, let's see what Sasha, sorry, whoops, Sasha has to bring this year. I'm really excited to see what she's gonna pull out. I'd love to see her live. I know she's gonna be in Louisville here soon with a few of the other queens.
30th.
Yep. So I'd love to go and see her, see what she does and how she performs. But I'm already also ready for season 10. I want to see where this progresses and how it goes. And let's get Eureka back because she was cracking me up during the reunion.
I want to say something about season 10 coming back. Did you notice that when Shay and Trinity, or I'm sorry, Shay and Sasha, at the end of it, Rue said, "I'm sorry, my dear, this is not your time. Thank you for the fabulous season." When she said that, I was like, ooh, is she coming back?
Ooh, is that a premonition? Is that a hint?
Hint.
It was just the way that she said it. This is not your time. And I know she has said it before, but I feel like this particular time, I was like, it could mean one of two things. She's going to come back, or Rue wants her back for an All-Stars episode. Like, there's no doubt about it. She's coming back.
I will grant you the All-Stars possibility, but I think I think you came too far to come back another season, like a regular season.
Oh, I completely agree.
Yeah.
So
to put someone who's pretty much was top 4 back into the competition again, that's just like, oh, here you go. Here's your crown.
Yeah.
Might as well just give up. Go ahead, girl. We'll be over here.
Yeah. But it should be good. I'm hoping we get some good queens this next season.
I feel season 10, since it is season 10, will be amazing. There'll be so many things that they can, I mean, not so many things, but I feel like there will be, hopefully there'll be more gag-worthy things to happen, because it's the 10th anniversary. You know,
I'm hoping so, because I felt like they pulled that out too early when they did season 8. I was hoping they'd wait to do something like that during season 10. I understand that season 8 was like the 100th episode. Yeah,
100 Queen. Yeah, and true. You know, I don't know if it was 100. Anyway, it was just one of those things where I would have liked to have. I'm hoping for something big. And I don't, and I know it sounds crazy. I don't want it to be in the first episode.
Oh yeah, because it's awesome when they bring it out just when you least expect it.
Yeah, I want it to be like something that is built up, like something that, like, you've got VH1 money now. Like, let's have some like judges stuff like in the background, or like some editorial and producer stuff where you kind of like, they're talking about this, you know, the secret, there's something that's going to happen, but it's not revealed yet, and like they're just sort of building it up in each and every episode until they get to that point. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it could be. I have like 20,000 thoughts about it, what it could potentially be, but I feel like it could be something. It would have to be something like my jaw is going to drop and fall off because it's so epic, amazing. Like, what the fuck is this?
I think it's interesting. You know, Damon, you had just said about that they have the VH1, you know, money type thing. Yes, technically VH1 as the distribution, you know, channel has more money than Logo did. I don't know if it's going to equate exactly the way people are wanting it to. I think there's a very large expectation that people are seeing VH1 as a big money bag, and like therefore it's just going to get crazier and more revolutionary and whatever. And I'm like, maybe, but I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people are disappointed and they're kind of like WTF, you know, why aren't you, you know, bringing in, you know, huge Olympic pools full of Jello and making them, you know, lip sync in that, or, you know, some other crazy absurdity. You know, that being said, there was an article that came out, let's see, 2 days ago, I want to say, yeah, that I looked over and I find it very interesting. It's about this season. It starts with saying, following a headline-grabbing Gaga-tastic season opener that drew nearly 1 million viewers, RuPaul's Drag Race kept the momentum going through last week's finale extravaganza, delivering the most viewed season and finale ever. 859,000 total viewers tuned in last Friday to watch Sasha Velour snatch the crown and title of America's Next Drag Superstar, representing an increase of 218% over last season's finale in the 18 to 49 demographic. Additionally, the full season was up an astonishing 122% from last season in the same age range. The season ender also trended across Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It was the #1 most social program on all of television on Friday.
Wow.
So that being said, there is huge momentum that potentially WoW Presents and Rue and, you know, other powers that be could have, you know, the cojones, you know, in their hands to say, we want this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's going to deliver that way or not. So I thought the article was really insightful that I know they said last season was the most watched season, and, you know, and like, but finally I read an article in which it was stated and they actually quoted, you know, a bunch of stuff. So I'm like, I'm, you know, curious to see, you know, what the next season does bring and where it goes. I think, unfortunately, for Eureka O'Hara, that she has the biggest target bullseye on her that ever existed.
Yep.
Because, you know, everyone knows that she's coming back. So the 12, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, however fuck many contestants are going to be, all of them except for Eureka are probably going to be coming for Eureka because they see her purely as competition because she's already been in the show through a couple of episodes.
True.
Fun fact that not a lot of people realize, Logo is actually owned by Viacom, which also owns VH1, MTV, Nickelodeon, etc. Big long list of networks.
Yeah.
So they all share a big pot of money, really.
Interesting. Well, I can see where sometimes that translates and other times it doesn't, you know. You know, that it does work and it kind of doesn't in a way. Because I think what happens is, you know, people say, oh, well, you know, look at Viacom has all this, you know, they have gazillion dollars. Yeah, but that doesn't mean like they're just going to take the money from over here and park it over there, you know, and spend it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no different than the company I work for. We're kind of like, oh, it must be nice. That division over there has a whole bunch of money. Why don't we get any of it, you know? So I think it's more about, you know, the stream of what that is. But that being said, I wanted you guys to know that, like, technically this is the most watched season to date. It like hit, you know, big numbers. It was, you know, so from that standpoint, as an investment of, you know, entertainment and eyeballs and all that stuff, it was big. It was huge. That being said, my closing thoughts are this. Art and politics is what won, and that's where drag thrives. It isn't where drag began, because drag began more as like kind of a theatrical piece. And it comes from theater, but it transformed within our own community, and I think it has been political and it has been artistic. And I think in a way that's part of why Sasha won. I don't know if it's fair to say this, but it could be a good speculation that if it wasn't for the political climate and what took place, Sasha may not have been riding the wave of where our country is right now. Now, mind you, they recorded last summer, and I did see an interview that was done in which Peppermint, I believe, says, oh, actually, it wasn't even an interview. It was Peppermint's own YouTube channel. I just watched the first video ever in her whole series today, and it's about the finale. And she said, I know our season got a lot of criticism for being nice and that we weren't very dramatic. She said, but remember, when we recorded this, Pulse had just happened. Like, we were still dealing with the fact that we had been through this event. And we were in the midst of the political election system. And therefore, all of that was kind of weighing on our minds. So when we came into the competition, we were wanting more to not cause more stuff. Which I found very interesting and insightful. It was Peppermint's way of saying, I hear you and I get that we were not as entertaining, quote unquote, because we were not as like bitchy and, you know, whatever. But the reality is we were consciously aware that we like, and to be fair, they go in a bubble. So when they arrive, you know, their devices are taken away. They don't have connection to the outside world except through the production staff who comes and gets them from their hotel room, takes them to set. You know what I mean? I don't know if they're blindfolded and, you know, have a sack over their head or how that works. But, you know, I mean, the reality is it's very controlled. And so they're there for a couple of weeks until they get released back into the world. And they don't know what's going on around them and what's happening. So I thought it was very interesting that Peppermint wanted to make the statement of, while we understand, like, we hear you, that we were not as, you know, or whatever, the truth is there were moments of that, but we were all like working through, you know, where we left off at, basically, which I get. Like, it's like, you know, you arrive in a plane with your shit and all of a sudden, like, boom, like you're off and running.
Yeah.
And, you know, stuff is just being thrown at you left, right, and center. You know, Fifi O'Hara says in that one video that I'm going to edit or put in about where the queens read Valentina to filth, she talks in there about, I've done 2 seasons of the show. I know what I'm talking about. As soon as you get off the plane, they hand you a huge stack of paperwork. Part of those papers is the lyrics to every single song that is on your iPod. So, I mean, she just spills it, like kind of calls it out. It is like, no excuse. You know, she basically says, if you don't know the words, bye girl, you're going home. That's the end of story. That's how simple it is. I mean, and even Rue kind of said that. You know, I don't remember, it might have been like in a post-show interview on something else. She said basically, because she was kind of asked about the Charlie and the Valentina thing, and she said, I don't care how old you are. I don't care how pretty you are. Like, basically, your talent is in this moment to lip sync. End of story. And if you can't lip sync, then you're going home. Like, I mean, it was kind of funny because it was almost like she was going to say, I don't care if I birthed you out of my own body. If you can't do it, girl, you going home. Which I was like, yep, I totally agree. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So I think for me, I am satisfied that Sasha won. I am slightly concerned because Sasha is not as standard, like 360 rounded as a performer, I want to say. I think if Shay had won, for instance, Shay would do what people are expecting: dancing, lip syncing, you know, outfits, the whole shebang. Sasha, I think, on the other hand, is going to be doing outfits and looks, but she's going to be making statements. And drag after 12 seasons of RuPaul's Drag Race is not what drag was before RuPaul's Drag Race.
True.
So I don't know how it's going to play. I think she will be widely accepted and widely viewed and enjoyed. That said, I just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, she, you know, was asked, I think, in that 14-minute piece about her eyebrow, like why she does her brows the way she does. I mean, there's a lot of stuff about her that we'll probably find out over time, but I don't know how people are going to connect with that or care about it. And I could be wrong. I would really like for people to get behind her and believe in the fact that she's like, listen, here's the deal. You know, like, we are here, we are entertainers, but we are also on the forefront of making change. And that's why I like, you know, kind of when, you know, Rue gives her the opportunity to say something at the end, she says, you know, something to the effect of, take in all of this beauty and let's fucking change things. And, you know, I thought that was interesting because it's a stronger thing than, say, you know, what Violet Chachki did. You know, Violet Chachki just gave a soundbite. She just, you know, threw out a meme. Come through. What the fuck does that mean? Like, come through the door? Like, break through the screen? Like, break through the glass ceiling? Like, I mean, I was kind of like, all right, girl. Like, you know. So I think she's much more statement driven. And to be fair, Bob the drag queen, who just stepped down as the former current fucking reigning. I think, you know, even Bob said she's political. She has no problem, you know, protesting and being arrested and making statements. And I think that was something that actually connects with Rue personally. And I'm not saying it's how you win. I'm not saying that you have to be funny to win. I'm not saying that you have to be like, political to win. But here's the reality. If you know the path that Rue took, you know that she has walked a varied path all over the place, from starting in a punk rock band to traveling from Atlanta to New York, back to Atlanta to New York, back to San Diego, back to New York, like over and over again, reinventing, trying, and ultimately landing, on another planet by skyrocketing as the supermodel of the world concept. And with the album in that, and she took that comet when she landed on it and just kept riding the fucker all the way as far as she could. And now, has an entire empire, all this kind of stuff. And I think that's what she's trying to show all these queens is like, you have celebrity waiting for you, and you can control it, and you can work it, and you can be successful with what your art is, but you have to be prepared for it. And that's in essence, I think, what the show is really meant to do. And some of the queens get it. I mean, look at who's still around and still valid and who's not. Now, it was interesting. I think you guys were saying earlier, as a closing comment, I was surprised to see how many queens were not at the finale. There seemed to be some big name hitters that were completely missing. And I don't know why that was. It's almost like there was a statement being made, but I'm not sure. I didn't really read any drama about it online or posted. I just found it very interesting.
Well,
one reason why you didn't see them is just because they didn't have cameras on them. We don't really get a whole lot of cutaway shots during the actual show. And even in all the supplemental pieces that we've been seeing, there's not a lot of cutaway shots in them either. It's just, oh, here's this Q&A thing. And, we're used to seeing those cutaways of different drag queens being there. I totally get what you're saying. I'm just wondering if this could be part of it, just because the cameras are not on them, which I think would be really weird that we didn't see any of the other winners, from previous seasons.
And then Bob.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm referring
but even
to.
That, I don't. When Bob came out to do the crown, was he actually on stage? Because that didn't look like it.
He was on stage.
Really?
He was on stage. He was on stage to do the crowning, and because he had the crown.
Okay, I'm gonna have to rewatch it again.
He gave the scepter and the crown to. He gave the scepter to Sasha, and then he stepped back, and he still had the crown because he didn't put her on her head.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, that was one of my weird, random, like odd moments. Like, why didn't she wear the crown? And I think maybe because it was too big.
Because she ain't got no hair, girl.
Yeah.
She bald, and that crown. Did you see the diameter of the base of that fucker? I mean, like, if it wasn't put on crooked, it would go right over the top of her. I mean, like, it would probably catch on her nose, which is not a good look. So
it's okay. I have a small head. I get it.
For the
skipping
that. So here's the thing. If you watch the finale, like the reveal where Peppermint and Sasha are backstage and then she goes on stage and she actually gets the crown in New York, they do put it on her and it goes on crooked. Like, I mean, it's all angled and shit, so it actually kind of sits on her noggin because she just still don't have no hair on.
That's what I was going to say, too, is that when they try to put it on her, like, wait, hold on. So they had to angle it to where, like, the back piece is all the way down here.
Like out of her fucking neck.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, that's what happens when you have a bald queen that's very, curious, kinky drag. Like, I would love, like, people are like, why is she not wearing it? She wore crowns all weird. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, but she ain't got no hair. That's pretty much it. Like, I mean, those crowns are meant to put, like, you're supposed to have like a huge, like, big ass wig on, and it's supposed to like look like this big when you actually put it on, because your hair is so voluminous.
Yeah. Well, season 6, people forget this. Bianca Del Rio didn't put her crown on because her hair was too big and they couldn't get the crown on her head. So it just depends on the situation.
Well, and I mean, look at it this way: if Eureka O'Hara goes to the end in season 10 and wins, they got to figure out how to put that fucker over a loaf. I mean, you know, how are you going to get the crown to fit over top of her bread loaf? I mean, you know,
they're going to need a step
trimmers.
ladder so they can get up to her height.
Well, I mean, you could bring Ivy Winters on in her stilts. That might help. I mean, she might, you know, dun 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 dun, you know, descend it from above, like, you know, it's falling from the sky or something. But,
and that would give her the opportunity to say her favorite phrase again.
Ivy Winters. I have to say, while it's an annoyance to some people, Rue's like auditory, you know, little quips, memes type thing, it's fun. I mean, even Nina Brown said she was asked repeatedly after she was eliminated, like, if she's ever going to change her stage name. And she said, I think a couple of times, so it was not just once, it was more than once. She said, if I was to change my name, I would change it to the last thing that Rue said, which was to call her Nina Bonina Brown RuPaul Andre Charles, which was
Bonina Andre Charles Brown,
right, to give her kind of like the family name type thing, which I'm like, all right, but you know, I don't think she's going to. Or maybe that's what Ruth said when Nina decided her catchphrase was "sue me," because then in that episode, Ruth said, I just might. And then it's been said a couple of times since then. In fact, I'm surprised it didn't come up in the reunion because I was waiting for that moment too. So I think maybe that'll be another snippet we get revealed later. I'm not sure.
I still love that picture I sent you guys where Nina's face is on a fucking bread loaf saying "sue me."
Speaking of, I will say this earlier when you were, I think, Damon, talking about the celebrities, the little video pieces. I have to agree with this criticism. So the fact that, let me see, Peppermint got her message from
Laverne Cox.
Laverne Cox.
That made sense.
Right. Perfectly valid. Makes sense. Let me see now.
Sasha was Katy Perry. Why?
Did not make sense.
Don't know. It was like, no, okay, well,
whatever.
There's Katy Perry.
Yeah, I and even
did he freeze?
Yeah, he did.
That face.
I know, right? I'm trying to screen cap it right now, but I can't because you click on it and there's nothing there. Somebody screen cap it.
Screen cap the tiny picture.
There he is.
That's a face.
Oh, face.
I have no idea what happened.
You literally froze for a second. You froze, and yeah, it was scary.
Making the
okay.
face
well,
ever.
anyways, for some reason my camera completely cut out, and so did my feed, so I had to rejoin. And now I don't know if I'm me or if I'm the podcast. But anyways, so the Katy Perry thing didn't make any sense to me. I don't know what the fuck that was about. And I think Sasha's response was kind of like, oh, all right, that's nice. Like, I mean, you know, like she handled it really well, but she also notably wasn't like, oh my God, that was amazing, or that's great. Trinity Taylor gets Bobby Moynihan, which I don't think Trinity really knows who Bobby Moynihan is because she didn't really get excited about the fact that, you know, that an SNL like comedian was on wishing her luck.
I think she was waiting for
Chris Pine.
Chris Pine. Yeah. I would have died if it had been Chris Pine. Is that just because?
Well, Rue even set it up that Chris Pine was the one that was talking about it.
Yeah.
You get Bobby on the video?
It was the Chris Pine thing and Bobby Moynihan thing is related to the Saturday Night Live sketch that they did where they're the mechanics and they're talking about RuPaul's Drag Race. And they do talk about tucking and all that stuff. So that was sort of the string that tied those two things together, as it were. However, it was oh yay, it's Bobby Moynihan. That's awesome. Yay.
Yeah, and so now I want to get to the final celebrity. So then you end up with Shay, who gets Black China. Brady, you know where I'm probably going with this. And
The
of
fuck?
course, you knew this shit was coming. Because sure enough, the camera is on Nina Bonita Brown sitting in the audience the
Nina
whole
Bonita,
time.
I roll Brown.
Oh, I know. Like, and about that, people were talking about how Nina was giving shade because she was, being dismissive of the fact that Shay got a shout out from Black China. Now, to say this, I think Shay handled it great. My favorite part of her response was, "That's a really nice car."
Yeah.
Like she kind of dismissed the fact that Black China was talking to her. She was too busy focused on the car.
I mean, to be fair, I would dismiss if Black China was talking to me too.
Well, I hear you. Like, I would have been like, "Oh, all right, that's nice."
I had no idea
You
who
know.
Black China was until that moment.
Yeah. So I can actually explain Black China and Katy Perry.
I think
Okay.
Um,
Well, the Black China one makes sense to me, honestly, because she portrayed her in the Kardashian musical. Like that one actually makes some sense. So 2 out of the 4 celebrity, well wish, whatever I get. But go ahead.
so Rue is friends with the Kardashian family, so obviously she had some pull there with getting Black China on. But Katy Perry actually, Rue got her to film that when they were doing Katy Perry's Witness 24-hour Big Brother thing that was going on. And if you notice, that was actually filmed at her house when Rue was there.
Yeah.
So I feel like Rue took an opportune moment, was like, "Hey, will you film this for so and so?" Because I don't really know if Sasha is a Katy Perry fan or not. I really don't know.
This is what I thought was interesting. This other podcast to listen to, they got pretty shady. And one of the things they said was, it almost feels like on the day of the recording, an intern was tasked with getting these testimonial video moments. And they were like, "Shit, who do we know? Somebody, like anybody got a connection with someone that makes a thing that like is," and that's how we ended up with Bobby Moynihan and Katy Perry, because it was like they got nothing, like they sort of are related, but not really, and it's kind of what? Like
Let's get the creator of Toaster Strudel to say something.
Yeah, I mean, none of them were an obvious plug because, to be honest, Anastasia of Anastasia Beverly Hills, who provides the makeup, would have been an obvious like product promotion plant if she had been, in the show giving well wishes or something.
True.
So I don't know.
Founder.
Or the current reigning queen of all the Hamburger Marys, if there is such a thing. I don't know. Ooh, that silenced the room. All right. That being said, anybody else have any comments to make, or are we ready to wrap this son of a bitch up?
I think we can wrap it up. I have nothing else to add.
I think I've said enough.
Chester, you look lost in thought.
No, I'm done.
Okay. Well, you don't say anything, girl, so I don't know what's going on in your head,
No, nothing. It's kind of... My head's great. My knee's back to normal. I can get blowjobs now.
Great. You picked it up and ran with it. All right. That being said, that is the end of season 9 for COL Drag Race T-Time. If you would like to get in touch with us, there's many great ways to do it. First of all, obviously, you can go to our website, which is cubsoutloud.com. You can also send us an email to cubsoutloud@gmail.com. You can, of course, leave us a voicemail, and we would play it on the show, but I don't know if we're going to have another show, at least not about season 9, because this is the end. If you want to, though, you can call 361-COL-TALK. That's 361-265-8255. You can go to basically a lot of the social media stuff, Facebook, Twitter, Google+. Just type in Cubs Out Loud, all one word, lowercase. You can go to bearunderground.net if you would like to be in a social atmosphere of bears, cubs, and the like, to join the COL group on there. You can obviously go to iTunes and rate us. You can go to Stitcher Radio, give us a thumbs up, all of those things where you find us online. That said, if you would like to get directly in touch with me, you can find me as GareBear73, pretty much any website or app that you're looking for.
And I am Theater Cup 79 on Ground, Growler, Tumblr, HeftyNet, and Facebook. Or you can find me as pup_Umber on Twitter.
You can find me on Tumblr or Twitter under the name The Pup Up There, or various bear dating sites across the net under the name Pup Shutter or Cupcake76.
And you can find me on any street corner trying to do anything for attention. Or you can find me on social media as Pup Tibbers or Ragnarok Cub.
Either or.
Either or.
He's flexible like that.
Yeah, I'm not going to show how.
Duly noted.
Is there anything you'd like to say? Let's change shit up. Let's get inspired by all this beauty, and change the motherfucking world. Now, prance, I said. Remember, if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here? All right, now let the music play.
Somebody was happy.
Yeah.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Stay live for just a second.
Uh-oh.
So I sent you all a message recently letting you know that I met Miss Ginger Minge at Lexington Pride.
You did. I wasn't going to say anything yet.
Well, I wanted to go ahead and talk about it because it's just me. Miss Minge gave me her phone number, and we have been talking and texting and whatnot, and she has agreed to do an episode of the podcast at one point whenever we can get that set up. So, yay! I have a queen that is wanting to come on the show.
Woo, girl.
Get her address so I can send her the shirt to have her sign it.
Well, that's the thing, and I feel really bad about this. So she gave me her number because she's like, come out to the bar complex tonight, bring whatever you want, I'll sign it. My dumb ass gets drunk at crossings, and there's no way I'm going to fucking get shit and go to the bar complex and get her to sign it, so that just didn't happen. Otherwise, I was going to get her to sign the shirt that I had and the picture I bought.
Well, yay. Cool.
All right. So that being said, there is potential for an extra special COL Drag Race T-Time coming soon. We don't know when. Yes, we now have an official contact with one of the Rue girls, and Miss Ginger Minge may be joining us in the future for a show. So more on that later. Now you're going to have to wait in suspense for a while.
I can't stand the suspense.
That said, it's officially good night.
Good night.
Bye.